Hi, this is Elgin Subwaysurfer Bolling, your creative caricature marketing consultant. Today I want to talk to you about what kind of artist are you? Or rather, I want to talk about, I guess I want to discuss if you have this problem, and that's like having yourself tied into knots and how to get yourself untied. I was having a discussion online with one of my subscribers, Shiloh the Bee Killer, about, and he was discussing rather about how sometimes, he's doing his art and he's an artist, and sometimes he hates doing his art, kind of, because it becomes this chore where he looks at his art and he really doesn't like it because it's become this chore. And I was describing to him, or rather explaining to him, that the reason why that happens a lot of times is because in art, especially at the professional level, we're trained to be more goal-oriented, especially here in the West, than in the East, where they're more process-oriented. And so in order to create art, I feel, this is my opinion, you may disagree, that is more satisfying and that will free us is to get away from the whole goal-orientated, is that just a word? I don't know. The whole goal focus way of doing something. When you're a professional, a client gives you an assignment. You take the assignment, you go about working on it, and you hand it back to them, and they evaluate it. No, I didn't want it this way, I want it this way. And so you take it back, and you work on it some more, and you hand it to them, and they say, yeah, that's kind of right, but can you tweak this, can you tweak that, can you do this? And they hand it back to you, and you work on it again, and you show it to them, and they say, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Because we get so much of that in this world as professional artists, because we always have some person, looking back, and evaluating our picture and making points on it and giving us a grade, that when we're doing something simple, even for our own enjoyment, we've internalized somehow that critic who's always going to comment on if something is right, if something is wrong, if something works, if something doesn't, if you haven't achieved that mark or that mark, if you didn't do this, or if you didn't do that. We get that stuff from out here. All out here, we get that stuff. And what happens is we begin to put it in here. Okay? And we can't break out of it. And so now we become always in a position where we are evaluating our own work. If you study people who, quote unquote, can't draw, what you'll find out is if you ask them to draw something, they'll usually, I've found, draw like a 5-year-old. And my theory about that is this. All children are natural artists, or all children start out wanting to draw, because children are natural creators. It's just a fact. But somewhere down the line, the child gets told, this is what you're creating isn't good enough. They get a grade, and depending on the temperament of the child, they'll either accept that grade, internalize it, and walk totally away from art. But the ones who stay, like me, and hundreds like me, thousands, billions like me, the ones who stayed usually didn't accept that grade that they got, but they kept plugging along. So what we have to get to as artists of getting away from this whole goal, when I get to this point, then the picture will be finished. No. What we should be concentrating on is not so much getting here, but the journey that it takes to get here. Loving every line, every subtle nuance, of movement that it takes to get here. That's what I call the concept of enjoying the journey towards the goal. And you can apply this concept even if you're quote unquote working on a freelance assignment for somebody else. It's really just a mind kind of shift. People would ask me often, how do you do your caricatures so lifelike? I've been told that, well, your caricatures, they're not just pictures of funny people, but when I look at your caricatures, one person told me, I know that person is walking around because it's infused with life. How do I get that? I get that by loving every line, even if I'm doing it quickly. I love every line. It's like when I draw, I'm actually looking at myself draw. It's a funny kind of way to look at it, but I look at myself as an outside observer. That's called enjoying the process. So as you go on creating your art, whether it's for yourself or for somebody else, take the critic out of it. Silence those voices that you hear in the outside world that's trying to get in here, evaluating what you do, and just enjoy the process. Don't even concentrate on the goal, because once the goal is accomplished, the thing is finished. And then you'll have to go on to something else. So focus more on the steps that it takes, no matter what path it takes, whether it takes an indirect path, or the direct path, whether it's fast or whether it's really just slow and steady, Concentrate on the journey, and you're going to find out that your art is going to have more power, more authority, and you're going to grow as an artist. And what's most of all, you're going to develop a more relaxed kind of mindset. Let me know what you think about this.